Alrighty. Hey everyone. So, a little late for the content patch, just a little bit, but here we are. Yeah, I was gonna stream on the night of, but I forgot that there was maintenance. And then I was gonna stream the day after, but I wasn't feeling so hot. And now we're on today, and we're ready to go. What do I do with my hat? I always have my hat laying around, but it doesn't look like I do. Did I, like, roll it somewhere? Where the fuck did it go? Alright. My hat decidedly gone AWOL. Cool beans. Damn. I'm gonna have to find that later. Alright. Anyways, so this week we're gonna be taking a look at... It was what? The Destiny, if I remember correctly? That sounds right. Hey, Kyle. Yeah, I know the bags under my eyes are nasty. No, I've been getting miserable sleep. It's kind of like a double whammy. So, like, I've had to adapt a new sleep schedule for work. And it's kind of messing me up. Simultaneously, I'm holding it because next week I'm going to be in LA for the convention, right? Well, the end of next week. Next weekend, pretty much. And with that in mind... it's going to be 3 hours behind my current time zone, so I'm like, I might as well just keep it up. But on top of all that, it is currently dead of summer. Our air conditioning is not strong enough to push the cold air up to the top floor, so our top floor is effectively cooking all day. And then when I go upstairs to sleep, I have a fan pointed at my feet, and that is the only source of anything cool. The problem is, because the air upstairs is so unbelievably hot, it just keeps my feet warm the entire time. It's blowing hot air on me, effectively, right? So, yeah, long and short, new sleep schedule, and hard to sleep when, like, you just sweat all night because it's so bloody hot. Because we've been rocking, like, 30-degree-Celsius days with humidity for the last week and a half, 2 weeks now, give or take. And the nights are still bloody hot as well, so... Yeah, it's fun. Heat's been slowly cooking. Yeah, even this back room, right? I have, like, the one fan that I've hooked up over here. It's not enough to cool the entire room out. Like, the main building through the doorway is nice and cool, but that air doesn't carry into here because there's no real airflow. And I can't really get airflow in here without opening the windows, which defeats the entire purpose of having the AC on in the first place. So I've just been suffering. So yeah, that's why it looks like I was on the losing end of a fist fight where they just went for the eyes. It's because, yeah, straight up, I'm just not sleeping hot. Well, I am sleeping hot, but, you know. Anyways, let's get going on the new content. Should be relatively quick. We got our welfare, we got our gacha stuff, alterations, real quick and easy. Nothing we haven't done before. So, we'll start from the top. The new, air quotes new, GP01, Zephyranthes, or however you pronounce that accursed name. And we'll start from the top. Cold drinks are nice. Oh yeah, so on that, oh, this was actually not bad. Okay. So I have like a very set list of beers that I enjoy. The one I primarily drink is Steam Whistle. You guys have seen me drink it before on stream. And last time my brother and I went out to the beer store, you can see the green here. That's a nice big old pallet, effectively, of Steam Whistle. And enjoying that. My brother, he doesn't really know. You know, he's still trying stuff, figuring out what he likes, what he doesn't like. He pretty much just drinks whatever's on hand. So he picked up one of those, like, variety packs of beer when we were out. And he was like, oh, I've heard of this before. You know, I'll try it. And I was like, all right, sure. You know, if you don't drink it, I will. That was such a mistake. There's, out of the 16 cans, only really half of them were drinkable, 2 different types. The rest of them were just, they were bad, man. Okay, I shouldn't say that. they weren't to my taste, I think is the best way to put it, or his taste, or most people's taste. Anyways, yeah. So I found this is one of the good cans. I forgot what color coding was which. I just know that the white can is garbage. The red can is... The green and the blue ones are pretty okay, though. Anyways, back to what we were doing. Zephyranthes. So, the head EX skills of Vulcan, completely worthless. Like, the entire draw of Vulcan EX skills is the reduction of the opponent's stats and potentially the stagger that happens when you hit them with enough of the bullets. Honestly, though, I don't think it's really worth it. Way better EX skills and traits available for that slot. Don't settle for a Vulcan like that. Stat-wise, this is post-power creep, so something to keep in mind. We're looking at about 3,600 shot attack, which is really, really good for a welfare head. Aces. Stats, 1,400, 1,500 in that ballpark. For a shot-centric head, that's not bad at all. Yeah, nice. Okay. The resistances are a little lame, but sure, man, defense, just don't get hit. Federation for Desert. Thematically, makes sense. In terms of game practicality, I don't like the 4-line attacks. I think they could be way better than they currently are. With that in mind, to me, this is very but I do know a lot of people do enjoy the 4-line of tags for whatever. Power to you, gang. We can't pick our stages. You barely really get any maximized use out of them. Anyways, Federation's a nice tag, though. A little bit of melee attack, a little bit of shot attack, a little bit extra shot defense in there. So, overall, the head, for a brand new player, not bad. You're bringing a lot of stats to the table. You got your Federation tag, but the EX skill and the 4 Desert tag are a little bit of a wash. But, you know what? That's what subslots are for. Alright, Torso. Critical Up Alpha. Your crit rate is boosted by 68%. Big issue, crit rate is still bad. Well, yeah, bad's the most short way of putting it. It's just not worth investing into, honestly. Look, if you want to make a crit build, power to you. It's just not worth it. Stat-wise, we're looking at... Wow, yeah, okay. Interesting. So melee, we're looking at about 2k melee attack, give or take. As for shot, it's a little more dialed back on there. We're looking at around 1,000 or so, kind of in that ballpark range. A little less, probably more like 900, 920. That's very much on the low side. Offensively, for welfare suits, especially in the shot department, keep in mind, post-power creep, we typically see 1,000, 1,000 for melee and shot. And, you know, it's typically before we have stat carryover as well, typically, not always. But for the suit's type of damage, typically that's what we see. The head was very much shot-oriented. This torso is very much melee-oriented. It seems to be kind of a rounder, like an all-rounder so far, which, it's okay. But... yeah, we'll have to see the rest of the parts. But long and short, excuse me, with Federation boosting melee and shot, doesn't really matter which stat you specialize in. But statistically, But 2 parts in a row where the EX skill is not really that amazing or useful for whatever reason. I really want that 4 Desert tag gone. Alright, arms. With Speed Attribute, melee power boost by 25%. That's solid. Speed Attribute is super easy to get. 5 parts of the Speed Attribute, and your suit becomes Speed Attributed, so you'll get your 25% melee boost. This is extremely high, especially for a welfare. Typically, we saw the welfares only peak out like 15-20%. Post-power creep, now it's 25. Typically, we see gacha suits that aren't limited or welfares anywhere from 30 to 35%. Definitely 35% on the higher end. But when it comes to limited and Sokai, 40% is kind of the gold standard. So for a welfare, this is doing really good for the melee power boost. Easy trigger, good numbers, really easy to do. I got no complaints. Especially when you compare it to the head and the torso's EX skills. This is just leagues ahead of it in terms of viable, like, usefulness, you know? Statistically, we're looking at about 900, 950 shot attack, kind of in that ballpark range. Melee, we're looking at about 3,900-ish, kind of around there. So for a pair of melee arms, very nice. It's got itself a lot of punching power in there. Not so much on the melee defense side, more raw stats, which is fine. It hits very hard. Definitely outdoes a lot of the 4-stars that we've seen before power creep happened. So good numbers there. Shot, it's a token number more or less. Like, yeah. Like, and that's fine. It's just the suit kind of, again, going for that all-rounder thing. Federation 4 Desert still. Alright. Yeah, it's a nice pair of arms statistically. The rest of it leaves some to be desired. Legs. Ooh. Excuse me. While Federation EX skill cooldown reduced by 20%. So Federation is a okay tertiary tag. Like I said, gives you the melee attack, shot attack. So it's a little flexible in that regard. With that, you get a 20% EX skill cooldown. Currently, I believe the highest EX skill cooldown reduction mod we have is 23%, which is really only on, typically, post-alteration limited suits. So 20%, good stuff. Yeah, nothing to really complain about there. So we got rid of our 4 desert tag, and we have pro tag. So this suit definitely seems to be more skewed towards melee, which is really weird considering the head. Anyways, statistically, we're looking at about 1,800 melee attack, you know, kind of spitballing that. As for shot, we're looking at about 800 or so. For a pair of legs, going past 1,000 is typically what we expect to see now. 1,200 plus is like really good. So shot attack wise, doesn't even break 1k. Melee, really, really good with its stat distribution there. Good trait. And good tags. Now I just want to double check something with the head. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Alright, let's check out the backpack. Battle Cry. Ooh, okay, this has a lot of text. A Pierce. B Power. That's unique to see on a welfare. Not a bindable. So it's a... Okay, so it's just a 51. Interesting. Activates when receiving a bindable skill. So it's a counter. Charge into the fray. So 48% heal. 39% melee attack boost. Like, straight up. Out of box, this is comparable to like limited / Sokai skills. You gotta remember, right? Typically, because the Sokai and limiteds have alterations, their numbers go way higher for these things. Like, we'd probably see a 59% armor heal and a 49% melee attack boost if this was a limited. But this is the first free counter skill that we've had so far, and that means a lot. That's actually really cool. I would definitely look at picking up this part if you were only to get one for this thing, if purely just for the utility this brings without having to gacha. But the huge heal, the huge melee boost, that's crazy. The only way it could be better is if it was a squad melee boost, I think, but that would be going way above what you'd expect. So, good job. That's actually a really cool EX skill. Federation Pro Tag, again, okay. Statistically, so pretty much the same as the legs. 1,800 melee attack, and like, you know, just under 1,000 shot. So the legs and the backpack statistically are more or less the same. Tons of melee. But this one definitely wins out with that EX skill. Cool stuff. Alright, Beam Rifle. When buffed, Vernier consumption equals 0 for 10 seconds. So this is one of those, like, I can see where it might be useful, but honestly, I don't think Vernier consumption is really that much to concern yourself with. Especially, this is very vague. Is it a one-time activation? So, like, if I get buffed, is this only going to trigger once, and then it can never trigger again? Or is it every time I get buffed, this refreshes? Because that could be kind of a big difference for people that really like using their Verniers, right? But, end of the day, I don't think it's that useful of a skill. Statistically, wow, that's some interesting numbers we're looking at here. If literally 0 melee attack. Ooh, excuse me. Very, very yawny. But yeah, no, with 0 melee attack, 0 melee defense, 0 physical resist, this is literally the beam rifle. Not just a beam rifle, the beam rifle. Statistically, we're looking at, what, 3,700 and change shot attack? That's pretty cool stuff, actually. Not the highest we've seen, but definitely in that, like, top percentile, so that's really good. And then Federation for Desert. Again, for Desert, not a fan. And the shield, critical up beta, ally crit rate boosted. As we've said, critical rate, just don't bother, it doesn't do enough. Statistically, we're looking at about 1,400 melee attack. We're looking at about 900 shot. For a shield, that's a kind of like a, I guess, a cherry on top for your shot. It's not going to be anything groundbreaking, but, you know, if you lack a shield with good shot attack, here you go. This carries over a ton. As for melee, it does have a token amount of melee in there. So, yeah. Overall, like, statistically, as I've said, with a lot of the more recent welfares, it does fine for itself. Like, it packs a lot of punch to it. It definitely has that, like, oomph we expect from post-power creep. Has a smattering of useful traits in there. Very powerful counter EX skill in the backpack. Overall, it's not a bad welfare. I wish it was a little more focused, though, but take what we can get, right? Ooh, my, excuse me. Okay. And let's pop on over to the gacha and see what that has for us. If I remember right, it should be a Destiny. And so it does. Okay. Now, as it is a 7-star tune-up alteration, I'm just going to worry about this when we get to the alteration phase of things. I'm going to look at the pilots here. We're going to hit up the Twitter videos, and then we will take a look at alterations after that. Okay. So, we'll start off with Krat Sylvie. That's a name. Alright, so we're looking at a Outfighter job license. Okay. While technique attribute, debuff EX skill effect up 15%. So, in case you forgot, the way the game works is flat addition for buffs and debuffs. So if your debuff was like, you know, remove 29% of the enemy's melee defense or whatever, you just wholesale add 15% to that, so it becomes, what, like 44% or whatever? Yeah, very nice. Very nice. However, I see people using buffs more than debuffs these days, so, you know, your mileage may vary. On top of that, 15% is an okay modifier. We have seen higher than that, and the technique attribute may or may not work into your build to begin with. But if you're backslotting just for the trade, I guess that's point moot. Close combat, ace exclusive word tags, probably, you know, makes sense thematically, but in terms of game, what are you doing? You're combining close combat, which is one of the best tertiary melee tags, with ace exclusive, the one of two best shot tags in the game. What are you doing? What are you doing? Statistically, we're looking at about 2,100 or so melee attack, you know, 2,100, 2,120, you know, ballparking in there, which for a 3-star, that's pretty good. Actually, that's very good. Shot attack, a little more reserved. We're looking at just hovering over 1,000, kind of in that bracket there. Which, yeah, it's not great, obviously, but for a 3-star, that's like totally spec'd out for melee. Sure. It's a really weird pilot again. The Outfighter license really does play into the strength that his raw melee stat brings to the table. However, his word tags are very much, clashing with that with Ace exclusive. Like, what? Close combat at least feeds into that. And the trait, it's nice, but easily replaceable. Alright, and Lock on Stratos Movie Edition. Hey, look at you, buddy. While long range, enemy shooting cut minus 30%. In case you've forgotten the way that the math works for this very specific thing, what this does is it reduces traits such as enemy shooting power reduced by 20% or whatever. This looks at that and goes, we're chopping 30% off of that. However, there is no floor to this, meaning it can go into the negative percentage as you keep removing. The best way to think about it is this is more of a shooting power boost of 30%. Considering long range is a very accessible word tag, especially for shot machines, this pilot is a long shooter to begin with, and he comes with the long range tag and Ace exclusive. I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and you'll probably have long range on hand for this. 30% is a very healthy modifier. Typically, we see 40% on limited and Sokais, but as this is just a pilot in the gacha, this is actually relatively surprising. So good on you, Lock-On. You're actually doing some good stuff. Unless I'm mistaken, the original Lock-On that we got as well was also really, really good for shot. Or maybe it wasn't the original Lock-On we got, but I know that we had a Lock-On variant that was like the shot pilot to have for a while. It looks like they're kind of bringing it back outside of build projects, at least, first glance. So, looking at stats. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, looking about 1,300 and change melee attack, which for Lock-On Stratos is crazy, because, he's all about the shooty from not in melee range. Shot attack is actually really crazy for a 4-star non-build project pilot. So base, about 2,300. Shot defense, pretty much almost 2,500. We're looking at, what? That's 3,100, give or take, shot attack with carryover? For a non-build project pilot, that's actually bonkers. Especially when you add in the long-range job license, or the long shooter license, the long-range tag, the Ace exclusive tag. This is literally a slot and play for pretty much any shot machine that doesn't have a super buffed up shot pilot. So Lock-On does it again. He hits the bullseye and just, completely trounces everything else. Good job, Lock-On. I think the only things that really stand up to you are limited pilots. And that does count the main cast, whether they're in swimsuits or whatever, because those are limited time pilots, even though they're in the standard pool. So, yeah. Good on you, Lock-On. Okay. With that all out of the way, we're going to hop over to Alteration, watch the Twitter video for the Destiny, and then take a look at the Destiny in Alteration. I should still have my thing set up. Yes? No? Yes? No? No. That's not it. That's the wrong thing altogether. Perfect. Okay. Let's see what we get. Alright, buff. Wow, that is right out of the anime. And I'm also pretty sure the original Destiny had that as well, did it not? Is that it? Okay. So yeah, that the second EX skill is definitely the iconic cut-in before Shin does something crazy in the Destiny. Yeah. As the chat said, it's like, I don't know if I'd say it's bleh, but considering it's a 7-star Alteration, the Destiny, I don't know. I was expecting a little more something from it, you dig? So, it wasn't terrible, has something iconic on it, but yeah. Hey, it's also big, so you know. Okay, well, let's take a look. Now, for anyone that hasn't seen me look at alterations before, this is going to be a little different, I guess, than what I normally do with alterations. But long and short, the disclaimer for alteration parts. When you alter a part, stats go up, EX skills and traits get improved. In the case of traits, a new one is added. In case of EX skills, the numbers are improved. Word tags don't change. With that in mind, when I'm looking at these, I'm going to be looking at the word tags, as I did not look at them previously, and look at the EX skill / trait. I ignore the stats altogether, as it is effectively safe to guess that it's just going to be power creep and the numbers go up. There are less than 5 examples in this game where the stats drastically differ pre and post alteration, but with that in mind, I always recommend you double check the numbers are what you need and want before investing the materials to alter a part. So, yeah. Look at this as kind of a, is it worth alternating or alterating, whatever. But you do you, fam. Destiny Gundam Noggin. Let's take a look at what we got. While close combat, melee power boosted by 40%. Again, close combat is extremely available, especially on melee suits, and the 40% boost is kind of what we've expected up to this point. When armor is 70% or more, you get another boost. Honestly, this is really nice. This is one of those very sync-like parts where everything feeds into each other. Do you have close combat, and do you have more than 70% health? Yes, alright, you got an 80% melee power boost. It's solid, honestly. High mobility, close combat tags, definitely thematically on point for this suit, although I think... like, I get it. It's a 7-star suit, something they're hoping brings in money, but I really expected to see Ace exclusive on here, all things considered. Alright, that's cool beans. The word tags are powerful tertiary tags. The trait, very powerful, feeds a lot into the suit. Cool. Nothing to really complain about here. Torso. When buffed, enemy EX skill cut minus 30%. So again, like I said, there's no floor to this formula, so it should read, when buffed, EX skill power boosted by 30%. It's the best way to think about it. Solid. When armor is 70% or more, enemy all cut minus 30%. Now this is a nasty part, the torso. If you read the text carefully, these are both agnostic traits, meaning they work on melee and shot builds. When buffed, EX skill power boosted by 30%. Not shot, not melee, not physical, not beam, just flat EX as long as you're buffed. Buffs are extremely easy to get, so that's not even going to be an issue. When armor is 70% or more, again, just don't get hit, all power boosted by 35%. That means melee, means shot, means EX, it means the whole 9 yards. That's a powerful chest. Yep. High mobility, close combat word tags. Again, like I said, for the head, solid tertiaries. Arms. Offense up gamma. Raise melee and shot attack of your squad by 49%. Ooh, that is literally a nice old healthy pocket rocket buff. 49% is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of number. And as it is boosting your squad, you can slap this onto one of your supporter suits. Bada bing, bada boom. Your main suit now gets big, juicy, and jacked, and you don't have to waste a slot. It's pretty good. It was a nice trade-off. Yeah. High mobility 4 urban. I don't like the 4 line of tags. 4 urban areas, no. It's a 4 line, man. Nope. High mobility is still nice to see, though. Honestly, nice pair of arms, but these are probably going to be better suited on a not primary suit, primarily because you're going to want a trait on your main suit. You know, maybe your custom skin can include this, but like, better off putting on another suit, honestly. Legs. Wall high firepower. EX skill cooldown reduced by 20%. High firepower is a very powerful word tag, affects both shot and melee, and we have So many parts that have it. It's not even going to be an issue. With Technique Attribute, EX skill cooldown reduced by a further 20%. So, if you are Technique and you have high firepower, 40% cooldown reduction. That is very good. Very good. As it is also an agnostic part, much like the torso, this works on shot builds, works on melee builds. The only caveat is you have to be Technique Attribute and use high firepower. But high firepower really shouldn't affect you that much. It activates a ton of traits, very accessible on shot and melee parts, easy to backslot. And the Technique Attribute, that may be the only real hard catch you have, but honestly, 40% cooldown reduction is pretty solid. Yep, and high mobility, high firepower tags. Alright, Backpack, Arendite. That's the cutscene where it runs up and gives them the good old chop. Squad gets a 48% heal, 39% melee attack boost, and 19% melee defense boost. You know, it feels a lot more like something that should have been on the, purely numbers-wise, on the original Destiny. Maybe it is a clone of the original Destiny. I don't remember the exact numbers that it had. But for post-power creep to only have an S-power bindable skill with a 39% melee attack boost, I don't know, I'm just not really jaw-dropped by it. Same time, that's considered against every single part in the pool. If you're looking at it in more of like a vacuum, it's pretty solid. The Arms EX is the same as the Gundam X Divider, had same stats and effect. Alright, neat. Shield. While high mobility, enemy all power reduced by 35%. Already talked about what that actually means. While high firepower, all power boost by 35%, which is solid beans. Weapon reload speed down 20%. This, I'm pretty sure, is referring to your ranged weapon slots, your beam rifle, bazooka, whatever. That slot's going to see a reload speed reduction, but you get a 35% buff EX skill up. So any buff will just get a flat 35% added on, and that is a lot of number. So for your gun, which typically most people stop using after a certain point anyways, neutral attacks, that's a very worth it trade. And the all power boost is, again, just really good. Keep in mind, as this is also a agnostic part, because it doesn't specify shot, it doesn't specify melee, it's just all power and buff EX skill effect up. Solid things. Solid, solid, solid. High mobility, high firepower. Look at that, even the tags are completely agnostic as well. Nice shield. Arendite, the Destiny variant. After 8 seconds pass, all power reduced by 30%. Oh, hold on a sec. Let me go back real quick. My brain is addled, clearly. So enemy all power reduced by 35%. So that's not boosting your power. That's reducing all of the enemy's power by 35%. I'm so used to seeing the cut minus percent now. My brain just fills in the blanks for me automatically. But yeah, no. At the end of the day, that's actually still pretty solid, all things considered. An all-power cut does everything. So, unlike back kind of when the game launched, people were looking to reduce the damage their enemies did. You would have to pack on melee damage reduction, shot damage reduction, EX power reduction. This is like, nah, just 35% of everything. If you got your hands on 3 of those, you're effectively damage immune. Unless the enemy starts packing in the all damage cut minus stuff. But you're still in a very good position, all things considered. Still a good shield. Not as good as I thought it was, but still pretty good. At 35% all power cut's kind of nasty, honestly. Anyways, Arendite. After 8 seconds pass, enemy all power reduced by 35%. So again, you pair this with the shield, that is 70% of the enemy's outgoing damage just completely taken off the table before anything else is taken into effect. That's pretty cool, honestly. And while high mobility, all power boosted by 50%? Oh, shit. So that marks not only the highest all power boost that we've seen up until this point, the single-handedly is the highest, but I think it's also the highest damage modifier that we've seen in a single trait anyways. Typically it caps off at 40%. This is actually bonkers. You literally just, your high mobility, you get a 50% boost to everything you do. That's, wow. Cut on just regular attacks, EX skills are exempt. See, that's the thing. I don't know if anyone's done the testing for it, but as the term is all power cut or reduced, I am almost 100% sure that affects everything. That'll affect your neutrals, that'll affect your EX skills, like everything. But yeah, the high mobility all power boost 50%, that's bonkers, man. Jeez. Ah, okay. Mana chimed in with the specifics there. So, yeah. Anyways, the Destiny Sword. Absolutely ridiculous. Hey, Arn. When melee power is over 10,000, which is really easy to do, enemy shooting power reduced by 30%. And that's what I mean, right? This is one of those specialized, shooting, right? Or melee, or EX skill, right? But all power is just everything, right? Which is what makes it so good. Whether it's an all power boost or an all damage cut, whatever, that's what makes them so potent, is it is a catch-all to everything. Anyways, enemy shooting power reduced by 30%. It's a nice high modifier, but as it only affects shooting, Outfighter job squad EX skill power plus 30%. That makes it very useful now. So if you put this onto one of your other two suits that you like taking around to do stuff, if one of them is an Outfighter and you slot this gun, all your suits get a 30% EX skill power boost for free. We've seen this trait starting to make its emergence on a lot of parts across the board, so you should definitely start stocking up on them if you're kind of out hunting for them. Eventually, you're going to be able to make a suit that is just kitted with all, EX skill power boost plus whatever percent for your squad, and that's like, a couple 100% extra added onto your main suit without taking another slot. And that's what makes it so good, is you're effectively giving your main suit more steroids without needing to use the slots for it, which there comes a point where we kind of got to dial it back and go, this needs to stop, but I guess we're not there yet. Anyways, cool beans, high mobility, close combat. So like, the Destiny overall, obviously big numbers. The backpack is okay, not, if I saw this on a pre-power creep suit, I might be impressed. Post-power creep, though, it's there. It's not bad by any means. It's just, the numbers read off like multiple others of the same. So, the Arendite sword, however, is definitely the cherry for this entire pool, as that 50% all-power boost is not only the first of the 50% modifier kind, but also the highest all-power boost we've seen. It literally takes 2 awards away today. Highest single damage mod in a trait, and highest all-power boost in a trait. Just like that. Absolutely bonkers. Yeah. Cool beans. I don't know if I'd say the sword is truly broken, though. You guys do have to keep in mind, we don't need the numbers that these parts are providing us. There is no content outside of PvP that anywhere approaches needing something like this. 7-star suits alone are completely unnecessary. You're able to clear effectively all the free mission content, all the story content, with 6-star parts. You don't need 7-star. You don't need to min-max your what are they? The marks. You don't have to max those out. Just gold's enough. You just need to build well. 7-star is our foray into what I've kept calling it up to this point, a rat race, where people are so worried about always getting bigger numbers that they don't really take the step back and go, why do I need the bigger numbers? If you're not racing for the top X in PvP, frankly, man, like just wait. Better stuff will come out down the line. Like 4 months from now, almost everything is going to be 50% boost to this or that. I guarantee it, right? So why worry about it now if you're not racing? All right. Well, with that, guys, I've done everything I needed to for this pool of updates. I'll double check the notices, though, just in case there was kind of something slipped in there. But to my understanding, that was pretty much it. Like, this maintenance wasn't really anything massive. It looks like they're kind of preloading stuff up for the anniversary, because that's coming up, don't forget. What dates are the anniversary event? Let me double check here. Breaker mobile. Yeah, so August the 6th was its initial release date. So I would expect probably sometime near the end of July, that's where we're going to start seeing stuff actually rolling in. Probably a week or two before that, we're going to see the letters from the dev going, hey, we got all these really cool campaigns leading up to the anniversary or whatever. I really hope they do start adding new suits again and stuff. I've seen a lot of people not happy, to put it nicely, about the lack of like the new toys every week that we got used to. But all I can say is, like, guys, we got 2.5 years of week after week of new content. I have never seen another game do that to the same degree that this one has. Like, no one else has ever approached that. The only other game that has done anything near similar is Tales of Luminaria, where it added a whole new story chapter every single week, and that was like, you know, put anywhere between 2 to 6 hours of gameplay every week that it added in. And it was like a non-grindy story chapter, right? This is really abnormal for a mobile game to update as often as GBM did, and I think a lot of people don't realize that, which is kind of sad, right? Like, I play FGO, takes months and months and months and months for new stuff to get added, right? I play Punishing Grey Raven, right? We have like 60 odd days, or anywhere between 45 to 60 days per patch, right? We just have the same content sitting there for the entire time. Maybe something new opens up, but it's more or less the same things, different skin, right? So, I don't know. I'm just like, yeah, sure, we don't get new things every week, but like, dial it back, dudes. Wait for the anniversary before you know, start doom posting. I just want bullseye banners back. Yeah. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm gonna wrap up, guys. I'm not really... Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, just the Destiny. That's fine, then. Okay. So that, I'm gonna wrap up, head out. It is... Yeah, it's like 11:45. Yeah. In case you weren't aware, next week is Anime X... Or not next week, next weekend. The 1st through the 4th is Anime Expo. As I've said before, I am going to be there with a large gaggle of friends. So if you are there, if you see me, don't be afraid to say hi. I don't bite. I will also be doing a video a lot like when I did the LA meetup that happened. Same kind of idea. So yeah, if you aren't able to make it, you'll be able to live through me vicariously. Yeah. So peace out, guys. And I will see you in a couple of weeks for the next content drop.